Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Quranic Arabic. The idea of these classes is one, that we should be able to understand Arabic in a way that would enable us to understand the Quran directly quite as much as is possible. It goes without saying that understanding the Quran through translations is one thing, and understanding the Quran uh, knowing its language directly is it's absolutely different. It is amazing beyond description. So if you are going to put in efforts to understand um, the Arabic Quranic Arabic, obviously at a very initial preliminary stage, which is going to enable us, hopefully, inshallah, to be able to understand um, the Quran. The only thing I would say is that in order for you to be able to do well, in order for your learning process to be effective, you ought to start reading the Quran from the point of view of the principles and their application that we do in the class. What we learn here is what you must start practicing in the Quran. You only start learning Quranic Arabic properly when you begin to have this realization that you're understanding the Quran, you're understanding it directly. What you had understood in principle is what you can find in the Quran. It's a it's an amazing experience. It never it never finishes. It just continues. That's the great thing about it. I am beginning uh, the description of what I have to present. Once again, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We all begin in the name of the God whose mercy is profound, whose kindness is forever. There is a concept in understanding how to read the Quran, which is described as harakat. The plural of it is harakat. Now, the idea is when you are reading a word, you should pronounce it properly. Harakat are needed in order for words to be properly pronounced. When we read this word masjid, it has certain harakat. There is a symbol harakat on meme, there is one on seen, there is yet another on jim, and at the end we have on dal as well. The idea of harakat is that you are able to pronounce the word correctly. Had there been no harakat on words, somebody who doesn't know Arabic would have easily pronounced this word incorrectly. We read it as masjid because of these harakat. These are what one might call the vowels of Arabic language. These harakat are 3 plus 2. So the harakat, I'm using alif for the purpose of explaining. One harakat is this. which is basically in Arabic it's called Dhamma, but in Urdu it's called Pesh. The other is what is called in Arabic Fatha. Fatha. In Urdu, it's Zabar. And a third harakat is this, which in Arabic is called Kasra. It's Zayd. Kam is having a jazm. Now this is jazm. Tumma, which is shad or tashdeed. So in all these are five. Dhamma, Fatha, Kasra, Jazm, Tashdeed. What is the idea? The idea is that you should be able to pronounce the words correctly. As I was saying, if these symbols are not there, then somebody who's not familiar with the language, he is going to, it's very likely to pronounce these words incorrectly. Somebody unfamiliar might say masjad, misjud, and so on. So these harakat are therefore needed. Now you can well imagine that the Arabs don't need these harakat. Why? Because they already know the words uh, that are spoken in their language, and they are they are pronounced correctly. Our own Urdu language, it has harakat in every word that is spoken. But we know that when we write Urdu, and it's written in books, newspapers, magazines, there are no harakat. Why? Because it's assumed that those who are reading it, they already know it. Even though in some cases it turns out to be uh, not exactly correct. So quite often, I mean, there are people who would mention my name as Khalid with a zabar, a fatha in lam, and so on. So this is the idea. So you must have heard this that uh, in the beginning, when the Quranic text was written, um, there were no harakat, there were no symbols. Why? Because they were not needed. It was only when the Quran was to be read and recited by those whose language Arabic was it wasn't their language. Uh, when it was imagined, anticipated that they are going to read the Quran and they might commit mistakes, these symbols were then used. So this is the whole idea of harakat, and I hope that you know it. Uh, we are quite familiar with them already, but I have mentioned it at the beginning because now I'm going to mention something which is going to be more important for the understanding of Arabic language, which is the concept of uh, instead of harkat or harkat, the concept of era, era. Era are different from harakat in that, although when I write era, obviously I'm giving it the due harakat. When it comes to harakat, they are there on almost each and every letter alphabet. I say almost, well, you will know why. But when it comes to Arab, we are actually talking about a certain symbolic presentation of a full noun. So when you're talking about a noun in Arabic language, and the noun is used in a sentence, it is always going to be in a state of Arab. It is going to be in one form of Arab or another. So nouns are in a state of Arab either in the form of Rafa, which is one state of Arab, or Nasab, which is another state of Arab, or Jar, which is a third Arabi state, Arabi position. Uh, what does it mean? Well, that's what we have to discuss. That's what we have to understand. It's going to be gradually, uh, it's going to get clearer. Uh, when we are talking about Arab, we are actually starting a discussion on nouns. Ism, ism is noun, and the plural is asma, right? So right now we're not going to discuss verbs. We're just discussing nouns. Nouns, whenever they appear in an Arabic sentence, it would either be in the form of rafa, or in the form of nasab, or in the form of jar. So these could be the three possible Arabi forms, states of a noun. Okay, what are those Arabi forms? Why are they needed? I think most of the discussion in uh, Arabic grammar, or call it Quranic Arabic, regarding nouns is going to be revolving around these concepts: Rafa, Nasab, and Jar. Let's talk more about Rafa. I mentioned that unlike in the case of Harakat, which are to be there in each and every letter alphabet, when you talk about Arab, you're actually talking about a symbolic appearance of the entire noun. So a noun, an ism, is going to be in in the form of either rafa or nasab or jar. So let's take this word that I mentioned earlier, masjid. I've already clarified that masjid has certain harakat with the purpose of enabling us to read the word correctly, pronounce it correctly. But there is this at the end of the noun, uh, the symbol. Okay, it is also a harakat, but this particular harakat is causing the entire noun ism to take form of an Arab, which is in this case Rafa, right? Now, it could also have been instead of Rafa, nasab, and it could have been jar. So essentially, a noun can have one of these three forms of Arab. Rafa, I just removed nasab, and jar. Now, if you have this understanding or conclusion in mind, that when we say Rafa, we're actually talking about Dhamma or Pesh. And when we say Nasab, we're actually talking about Fatha or Zabar. And we're talking about Jar, we're actually talking about Kasra or Zir. If that's the conclusion you've drawn, well, you can be forgiven for, for doing so. It's true, but not exactly. Um, why? That is what I'm now going to explain to you. So, what I'm saying is that Arab would always appear towards the end of a noun. That's where the Arabic form is going to be figured out to be identified. Now, let me go into more detail. Let me take a simple noun, a simple noun. And when I'm talking about noun right now, out of the three possible forms of Arab, right now, the discussion is going to be on Rafa. Okay. Now, the noun is Muslim. Well, we have already talked about the fact that Muslim has Dhamma, Jazm, Kasra. But now that we are talking about Rafa, it's Muslimun. Muslimun is Rafa. Now, you know, in Arabic, this actually is Wahid, singular. Muslimun is one Muslim, singular, and Muzakkar, masculine. One Muslim man is Muslimun. And what is the Arabic form? Rafa. Okay. Now in Arabic, there is another word for two, which is called tasniya. The tasniya. So while Muslimun is one Muslim man, and this noun is in the form of Rafa, Arab, two Muslim men are this. Uh, Urdu, those who know Urdu would read it as Musalman, but that's where the role of harakat is important. It's not Musalman, it's Musliman, Muslimani. What is Muslimani? Muslimani means two Muslim men. Now, I hope you understand that your initial idea that Rafa is Pesh Dhamma is gone, shattered. It's not necessary. It's only true when you're talking about, for instance, a singular noun. So when it comes to plural Jama, it's another noun which is Muslimuna. Muslimuna. Muna. This again is Rafa. So when a noun appears in the form of Rafa, if it is singular and it's masculine, Wahid Muzakkar, it's Muslimun. If it's two, Tasniya Muzakkar, it's Muslimani. And if it's more than two, Jama Muzakkar, it's Muslimuna. Obviously, we have feminine nouns as well. Monnas, which is in this case Muslimatun. Muslimatun. So, this ta, which is called ta tanis, which is ta that makes a noun from masculine to feminine, that gets added, and rafa is zamma. But when it comes to two Muslim women, it is muslimatani. Muslimatani. Muslimatani are two Muslim women. And they're all, by the way, in the Arab of Rafah. And finally, many Muslim women are Muslimatun. 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 By the way, I hope that you figured out that I made a statement that harakat are there on almost all letters of nouns. Not all, almost all. So we don't have a harakat here on alif, on waw, on alif, on alif. So, it's just trying to understand the language, how the words are spoken, how they are written. We can't do anything about it. That's how it is. These are the six nouns that are always going to be, almost always, in most cases, they're going to be there. You know one noun and you know the entire family. Now, I would want you to, in the given time, I hope, do exercises right now. Obviously, I can't see what you're doing, but I would want you to do them. Uh, but before that, I just want you to focus. Muslimun is one Muslim man. Muslimani are two Muslim men. And what has happened is that Muslim is there. What has been added is Ani, right? And Muslimuna are many Muslim men. So what has been added is Una. Muslimatun is one Muslim woman. Uh, what has been added is a ta, right? And here Ani, and here Atun. So what is common and always retained is Muslim. Muslim doesn't go anywhere, but the noun takes different forms. It gives different shades of meanings uh, by having something added to Muslim. If that is what you have understood, then I give you, to begin with, a simple exercise which I hope you will be able to do. You can see or erase this part. Harakat is gone. The first I would want you to write are on your own, hopefully, notebooks that you have with you. Because obviously, it's not something of a lecture which you have to just listen to and absorb. You've got to write it down. So, you need to have a pen or pencil with the notebook with you. So, like Muslim, I would want you to right now do Malik. Malik is Malik, the one who owns, uh, and one man who owns is Malikun. So you will write two men who own, many men who own, one woman who owns, two women who own, and many women who own. So try doing this exercise, and I hope you will be able to do all these six nouns correctly. When you will do them correctly, you already know what Malik means. But when Malik moves from Wahid, singular, muzakkar, masculine, to Tasniya, two, masculine, it will have a different noun. And then you move on to Jama, plural, and then you start with Muannas, feminine, two Muannas, and then Jama, plural one, Muannas, feminine. And you will have all six of them. Uh, I hope you've all done it correctly. So we will have Malikun here, Malikani here, Malikuna here, Malikatun here, Malikatani here, and Malikatun here. I hope you've done it correctly. Now, before I end my presentation, I would just like you to do one more exercise, which you will do first on your own, and I'll put it down over here. You know, Muslim is a Muslim, a man who's a Muslim, a man who submits. Malik is somebody who owns, somebody who seeks forgiveness, a man who seeks forgiveness. It's a slightly more, call it complex word, noun, but I want you to do this exercise. It's called mustaghfir. Mustaghfirun. Now, mustaghfirun is one man who seeks forgiveness. And let's do for all the rest of the five too. One man who seeks forgiveness is mustaghfirun. Mustaghfirun. The more complex a noun, the more significant the harakat become. Two men who seek forgiveness are mustaghfirani. Wow, if you've done it correctly, then hats off. Mustaghfirani. And many men who seek forgiveness are mustaghfiruna. Mustaghfiruna, right? One woman who seeks forgiveness is mustaghfiruna. Mustaq. The original noun is retained, and there is tun, mustaghfiratun. Mustag, mustaghfiratani. And mustaghfiratun. This is the family of mustaghfir. Mustaghfirun, one man who seeks forgiveness. Mustaghfirani, two men who seek forgiveness. Mustaghfiruna, many men who seek forgiveness. Mustaghfiratun, one woman who seeks forgiveness. Mustaghfiratani, two women who seek forgiveness. And mustaghfiratun, many women who seek forgiveness. I don't want to do it too quickly. Uh, I think let's keep it at that. The next time when we meet, I hope we will start doing something which would give you an opportunity to open the Quranic text and read and understand a bit of it. Obviously, what we have done here is also something that you can go and identify and see for yourself. Wahid, Muzakkar, Tasniya, Jama, etc. But here I am now for your questions. Please, Aisha.
Sir, you said Mustaghfirani. The two son tasniya of Mustaghfirin.
Right.
How you decided uh, to uh, there comes Zair
Yeah.
noon under the noon and Mustaghfiruna the Zabar. How
Right.
we decide?
How do we decide? We don't decide. This is what the Arabs have decided. You see, language is what those whose language it is, the way they speak. It is said that language is nut, not mantiq. It is what those whose mother tongue it is, the way they speak. All others who want to understand a language have to just follow, emulate them. We do not have any logic. You know, I mean, if they say uh, PUT is pot, we'll say pot. If they say BUT is but, we will say but. If they would say KNOWLEDG is knowledge, not knowledge, we'll say knowledge. That's their privilege, prerogative. So in language, it's the people who speak that language, whose mother tongue it is, who really matter. So they have been speaking this language that way. So they decided, when we say they decided, obviously not by sitting together as a council or a committee, but by just speaking it. It just started happening naturally. Probably it evolved. So when they spoke, one man who would seek forgiveness, they spoke Mustaghfirun. When they used the word for two, it was Mustaghfirani, and then so on. Luckily, luckily, and that is what happens in almost all languages, they were consistent. So once there is a pattern decided, that pattern is consistently followed. I'm not saying it always happens that way. Sometimes a certain pattern gets broken. Then the grammarians tell us that there was a reason why the pattern was broken and something else, was mentioned, spoken, which ordinarily we could not have uh, anticipated, could not have imagined.
So normally in English or Urdu, we have singular and plural. But here in Arabic, there is a specific emphasis in singular, dual, and plural, as you explained. Sir, is there any logic behind it, like, or this is specific to Arabic? That always we talk about two and then we talk about plural. Plural.
Again, it's their decision. I think probably it makes it richer. Probably they felt that it's not just singular and plural. There is a definite need for another category, for two, for dual. So it's, well, I, the very few languages I know, it's only in Arabic that we have this particular feature. But I'll not be surprised if there are other languages too. Zeden,
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
what?
Sir, my question is, as you just mentioned that Arabic is not our language. So as we are moving forward in this class, how could we increase our vocabulary? Do you have any recommendation for that? Did you do anything like in your journey?
Uh, to be honest, I don't want to disappoint you. My
Yeah.
vocabulary is not great.
No,
Uh,
sir, definitely you
let, let,
translate.
let, let me, let, let me
Okay.
answer. Let me answer. You see, honestly, and you have a right to disagree with me. The important thing is that we understand the Quran. Um, the Quranic vocabulary is what is important for us. So even if you are able to have a very vast, uh, you know, vocabulary reservoir of words, they still are no good unless you know that when they are used in a sentence, what exactly happens to the peculiar meanings that they have. So the dictionary meaning of a word is one thing, which is important. But the way it has been used in a sentence is something which is more important. And when it comes to nouns, uh, one of the most important things to learn is their Arab. My own my own way of knowing the Quranic vocabulary is that you start reading the Quran and take a good translation, a translation that you feel comfortable with. Quite often, what you'll find is that there are sometimes disagreements. Never mind, I mean, in that case, you can go into further details. But very soon, we are going to discover that a good part of Arabic words are the ones that are derived from a root. Three letters get altered, transformed into different words. So you get to learn vocabulary with the passage of time. My my request would be that as we proceed uh, in our journey of learning the language, uh, you start reading the Quran, and as I said, you take a Quranic text with a translation that you feel comfortable with, and then start applying whatever you've learned. Start looking for words, nouns that you can kind of figure out that, this is what I know a little more than I knew before. I think it is your interest in learning the Quran through what you have learned in the Arabic sessions, Arabic language principles. That is what is going to push you, motivate you. That's how I learned. I'm still learning. It's something that is really fascinating. You know, you get excited that, oh goodness me, I've got something more than I knew before, and now I know why this translator has translated it that way. Ji, Siddiqa Sahib.
You know how in many languages there are masculine and feminine, like in Urdu and other languages, but then when a word is masculine, it's only masculine, or if a word is feminine, it's only feminine. And then today, the three words that we looked at, they were we could convert them both into masculine and feminine. Is that with all the words in Arabic? Like in any word that we have in Arabic, can we do that with?
No, no, that's not necessary, but many of them, yes. Uh, if you want me to say most of them, well, probably yes, but not in all cases. There are many words which are just masculine. There are no feminines for them, and vice versa. There are many names, you know, which obviously there is another aspect of it, a feminine aspect, but that's going to be a completely different word. Um, so some some nouns will be peculiarly uh, masculine with no alternative feminine available. I think most of them are the ones which, once you know one of them, you can make the entire family of six. That's what you find in most of the cases. But yes, there are nouns, quite a few of them, which cannot be transformed into other nouns like we have done in the case of Muslim, Malik, and Mustaghfir. So as we proceed in learning the language, we will learn that this distinction is there. But thankfully, uh, most nouns do fall into this category where you actually can do the exercise that we have done today. Yes,
Assalamu alaikum wa
America.
rahmatullahi wa
Walaikum
barakatuh.
salam.
Jazakallahu khairan fi dunya wal akhirah for the lesson. Is this once a week class, Brother Khalid?
Uh, that's how it is. I mean, I think it's something which probably suits most of us. Um, I I know that it appears to be too little, too less, but I think if we do it consistently, you will see, inshallah, that the progress that we will make will gradually improve. Um, I don't want to rush through things because when you start doing things at the very beginning, which are too demanding, then well, it doesn't help. So it's once a week, and as I said, we will have it on my YouTube channel for those who are not able to attend it on live like we are doing now because of the difficulty of timings. They'll also be able to go through what we have done, and uh, inshallah, when we move ahead, we'll be able to do uh, more stuff that's going to enable us to feel that we are getting closer to understanding the Quran more. Yes, Fatsa.
I just want to add a small thing that recently, I believe a year ago, I found a colored Quran. They use a box technology and a multicolor. It's Arabic on the top and English in the box down. It makes very easy what they tried by using the color technique to separate the vocabulary with the grammar. It really helped me a lot in understanding it. It's, I think, three books. Just I'm sharing my experience. It's in multicolor, and it really helps when you see the word. You take a few seconds or minutes to find the root word from it.
That's good, very good. I mean, anything that helps in understanding the Quran better is always welcome. I think all others who are listening to you, they should also benefit from these ideas. wherever they are available. I'm sure they're available on internet as well.
Sir, my last question. Will you provide any resource just to get to know some grammar, like grammars or something?
Right now, it's just the lectures, but I did have. I'll try to find out what I am now teaching in the form of notes. I'll try to dig them out. They're available somewhere. But I would want to start doing exercises. I might actually think in terms of uh, giving you an exercise or two in the WhatsApp group if it gets underway. I'm sure that it has already been mentioned, and if you join and do a few exercises on your own, uh, which I'll suggest, it's going to help. But as I said right at the beginning of my presentation, you know, the Quran is the exercise, and just start reading it uh, and start finding out, digging out words, nouns that you are now more familiar with as a consequence of what you have studied. I see the possibility of any textbook, any book which gives good examples that might help you and introduce the book to you. But right now, I think I feel more comfortable that we do these exercises, we do uh, understanding the way I'm presenting, and we start reading the Quran and identifying the nouns that seem to be more familiar to us. As I said, it's the excitement that you get, the satisfaction, contentment by learning that the Book of Allah is you're getting closer to it uh, directly. That gives you the motivation to go ahead. There was somebody who raised hand uh, and then dropped. Yes.
Sir, the difference between Harkat and Arab.
Mm.
We use Harkat on each and every letter almost. And
Yeah.
Arab, it is used in the end of the last letter of the word. Yeah,
Yeah.
to find the position of the noun.
Right. So when we say Arab, we are actually talking about the entire noun uh, and its position, its role in a sentence. Uh, Whereas when we are talking about harakat, we're just talking about the letters, the way they are to be pronounced, in a certain noun. Uh, Vowels, um, like vowels in English. Um, so, in order for somebody who doesn't know Arabic to be able to pronounce words correctly, it's important that the harakat should be there. Uh, those whose mother tongue it is, they naturally speak the language and harakat flow naturally. But for those who do not know the language directly, they ought to know the harakat. But that's simply for the purpose of reading, pronouncing words correctly. But what is more important is that when a noun is used in a sentence, it takes one of the three forms of Arab: Rafa, Nasab, or Jar. Right now, we are talking about Rafa, and we have tried to familiarize ourselves with the way Rafa nouns appear. And in the process, we have learned that each noun, not always, but in most cases, each noun belongs to a family of six members. So once you know them, well, you are in a position to transform any noun uh, into, you know, the various different members of that group, that family. Okay, inshallah, that's where we end. And on next Tuesday/Wednesday morning, uh, we'll proceed with the next part of our learning.